Well, good morning once again, Sakina, and of course, beautiful viewers there. And we are still bringing you that rolling coverage here from the Sun City Resort, talking about the celebration of World Consumer Rights Day. And just to get more information on this topic, I'm going to speak to the HOD of the DDEC department here in the province, Lufuno Chikovi. So thank you very much. We continue this discussion. As the province, how is consumer protection being protected for our consumers here?
Thank you for this opportunity. As we know, the department and then the province is trying by all means to create a market fair place for the consumers. And then we are trying to build that kind of a relationship between the service providers and our consumers. What we are trying to do, we also regulate in terms of the compliance in the province with our key stakeholders, and then we also have the consumer court that mediate in terms of the things that went wrong between the suppliers and then our consumers. So in terms of those, and then we are also using the act in terms of implementing such rights, so that at least we are able to develop this good relationship between our suppliers and consumers, because sometimes their rights are infringed, and then that's why we have to come in as a province or as a consumer affairs office in the province to deal with those issues that are creating challenges to our consumers, losing trust to the service providers, losing trust to the systems, and then other things.
I was reading a document recently that was explaining how the trade of illicit goods is very rife, not just in South Africa and not just in the Northwest. And this also contributes to or rather, it affects the economy of not just the province, but also that of the country. And it is also linked to corruption. Now, in the past 2 days, we saw inspectors and environmental health practitioners confiscating illicit goods, amongst other things. And in just one day, the confiscated goods that amount to more than 500,000 in just one day in just one area. What does this tell us?
Thanks. I think it was just telling us in terms of the program that we have in all the 4 districts in terms of the compliance. And then when we are calling upon our key stakeholders and then regulators, also the business people, because this thing is done by the business, not following the proper process in terms of handling their goods, or not following the proper process in terms of selling their goods, because some of the goods you will find that the price are not there. The process for sales procedures is not being followed. And then in other instances, as you are talking about the inspections that were conducted, you will find that there's a complaint that some of those business people are sleeping in the shop where they are selling these goods. So that's where we come in, and then we thought celebrating this World Consumer Rights Day, it will help a lot, because it must be able to bring the insight. We don't want to separate the service providers or the business people, but what we want to call upon is to say the business or the service providers, they must come and then help us. As you indicated, to say it affects the health. That's why we have got a health environmental inspector with us. We have, in a situation, we reach a point where sometimes we have to close the whole shop. You will find that most of the goods that are stored there are expired. So those are the challenges that we are really facing. And then we thought, in terms of celebrating this, it won't be only on the 15th. We normally do our inspections or our operation with law enforcement agencies. And then we are calling upon to say maybe the issue, it might be also information dissemination, where the consumers, they are not able to report some of those cases, so that at least we are aware. And then we are able to conduct, because where we know, at least we are able to act. And then in terms, as I indicated, to say, since we have established a consumer court, we managed to mediate between the suppliers and then the consumers. And then we find that their understanding, some of those businesses, they are start to complying, not all of them. So we are calling upon all consumers and service providers to say, I think we must adhere in terms of the consumers' regulation, the protection, and then the rights of the consumers.
Okay, and let me come in there. I think just making a call to consumers and service providers is not enough. Yeah, yesterday and the day before, during these inspections, we heard officials of the department admitting that not enough is being done, and also some of the consumers saying they are not happy with the fact that they buy goods that have expired, that don't have all the relevant information that needs to be on the packaging. So we want to know, going forward, what is government going to do to ensure that these things do not keep on happening, because they're happening a lot, especially in the local tuck shops.
Yes, thanks. I think in terms of going forward, we are encouraging our municipalities to appoint more health environmental inspectors, because that's the point that we are also lacking in some of the things. We have got different responsibility as a department. We can able to see some of the things, but some of the things they need a specialist in order to indicate, to say this goods has been expired in terms of 1, 2, 3. So we are encouraging our local government also to take this part for environmental inspectors very seriously. And then also in terms of the law enforcement agencies. And then also in terms of disseminating the information that is very critical, especially now focusing to our business people, because they are the one that most of the time they are letting us down. And then in terms of the consumers, you will find that they are only interested in terms of buying goods that are cheaper, but not knowing the consequences or the conditions that will have in terms of their health. So those are the things that we are trying to do. And then the other thing as a province that we are doing, we are also repealing the Consumer Act bill, which now we have already certified it. It's on the public comments. Then when we've done that process, we are going to engage in terms of the provincial legislature process, so that we understand there are some of the things that in terms of the current act, we are not able to deal with it.
Sorry, just for time constraints, I want to give this question quickly before we wrap up. Looking at consumers, we can't blame them for going for cheap products, because the economy is testing for many people. Many people don't have jobs. Those who do are not earning enough. And so they go for cheaper products. And we cannot put the blame on them. We need to focus on the service providers. And just in short, practically what will be happening? Well, due to time constraints, we're going to have to leave it there. We'll continue our discussion later. Studio, I'm going to hand back to you for now.